Today, we're jumping into one of the most, vivid chapters in the entire book of Revelation. It's a passage that gives us two powerful, totally contrasting visions. First, a very precisely numbered group, and then an uncountable crowd from every corner of the earth. And all of this unfolds just moments before cosmic judgment is unleashed.
Okay, so the scene opens with this incredible planet-wide drama. At the very corners of the earth, you have four angels who are literally holding back the four winds. And these are not gentle breezes, okay? These are winds of pure devastation, cosmic forces just waiting to destroy the land, the sea, and all of nature. The entire world is holding its breath.
But right at this moment of peak tension, a fifth angel shows up. And with a loud voice, a divine command just slams the brakes on the apocalypse. Everything is put on hold for one specific, very urgent purpose.
So, what's this crucial task that's so important it can stop the end of the world? It's an act of sealing. Before judgment can move forward, a select group has to be marked for protection.
Now this seal, it's not like a physical brand, Think about it this way. Back in the ancient world, a seal was a mark of ownership and authority, like a king's crest on a document. So here, it's a spiritual mark that declares these individuals belong to God and that guarantees their safety from the divine wrath those winds are about to unleash.
And the vision is super precise about this first group. What's interesting is the narrator doesn't actually see them at first. He hears their number. The number is exact, 144,000. We're not talking about an estimate, no, about, or around. It's a specific, finite count of those who are getting sealed. All right, let's break this number down because the text gives us some really meticulous detail.
Okay, so there's this really cool symbolic perfection to this vision. The 144,000 isn't just some random figure. It's made up of 12,000 people from each of the 12 tribes of Israel. Now, in biblical literature, the number 12 is a big deal. It often represents wholeness or the totality of God's people. So you've got 12 times 1,000, a number for a huge multitude, and it symbolizes the complete, perfectly ordered people of God from the Old Testament.
So the big takeaway from this first vision is all about its symbolic order and how specific it is. It's a clearly defined group representing the full inheritance of Israel. But just as we're wrapping our heads around this image of perfect structure, the entire vision shifts in this absolutely breathtaking way.
And this right here, this contrast, is really the heart of the whole chapter. The perspective just zooms out, moving from the symbolic and specific to the literal and universal. We go from a numbered group to one that's uncountable, from a single nation to the entire world. It's almost like the first vision was the blueprint, and now we're seeing the glorious, sprawling, finished building.
So after hearing the number 144,000, the narrator says, "After this I looked." And wow, what he sees is completely different.
This group is the total opposite of the first one. Its main characteristic is that it is just beyond counting, a vast sea of humanity, defined not by where they came from, but by its beautiful, radical diversity, all of them standing together before the throne of God. Their whole appearance is just packed with symbolism. Those white robes, they represent purity and righteousness. And the palm branches, that's a sign of victory and celebration, kind of like a crowd cheering for a triumphant king. They aren't hiding. They are right there, out in the open, worshiping. And out of this gigantic, diverse crowd comes this one, single, unified cry. They all proclaim the same thing. Their deliverance, their salvation, comes from one source, from God and from the Lamb. It doesn't matter what language they speak or where they're from. They all merge into this one incredible song of praise.
Okay, so seeing this triumphant crowd obviously raises a question, right? Who are these people? And how on earth did they get here? Well, the text anticipates this because one of the elders in the vision asked the question directly. The elder asks the narrator this question, but it's not because he doesn't know the answer. It's really to set the stage for the big reveal of the chapter. The narrator just says, "Sir, you know." And here it is, the profound answer. This victorious crowd is a community of survivors. They have come through the Great Tribulation, a time of intense suffering. And for the first people reading Revelation, that would have brought to mind very real experiences of persecution. Now, those white robes, their purity, it's not their own. The text uses this really powerful paradox. They are made white by being washed in blood. Obviously, that's not literal. It's a metaphor for being purified and redeemed through the sacrifice of the Lamb Jesus.
So because of everything they've been through, and because of who saved them, this multitude is given this series of just incredible promises about what their new reality is going to be like.
I mean, just look at this. Every single promise is a direct reversal of earthly suffering. Every basic human need, food, water, shelter, safety, all of it is met perfectly and forever. The Lamb himself, the one who was sacrificed, now becomes their shepherd, leading them to springs of living water. And this is the final, incredibly tender promise that just wraps everything else up. It speaks to the end of not just physical pain, but of all grief, all sorrow, all loss. It is the ultimate image of comfort and care.
So, this chapter takes us on an incredible journey from a world on the very brink of destruction to a vision of absolute security. It gives us two images of God's people. One, symbolically numbered and sealed for protection, and the other, an uncountable, diverse multitude celebrated for their endurance. And it leaves us with a really powerful question to think about. In a world that feels so uncertain, what does a vision of ultimate safety like this truly mean?